The movie is set in 1977 in the San Fernando Valley area of Los Angeles. We meet Jack Horner, a film director, and his girlfriend and actress Amber Waves. They visit a club owned by Maurice Rodriguez and meet other actors like Buck Swope and Reed Rothschild. They also encounter Roller Girl, a teenage actress who always wears roller skates. Eddie Adams, a busboy, catches Jack's attention. They go to a diner where Jack talks about his dream of making an erotica film with a compelling story and plot. Later that night, Jack goes home with Amber. They have drinks and Amber uses cocaine. Little Bill, a producer, arrives home to find his wife with a stranger. Eddie goes home and shows off his ego by mimicking Bruce Lee's karate moves. The next morning, Eddie's mother becomes angry that he's working at a car wash instead of going to school. Buck Swope tries to sell a stereo system but fails, and Roller Girl becomes upset during a school test. Eddie visits his girlfriend's house, and she suggests he join the adult film industry. At the nightclub, Jack whispers something to Roller Girl, and she takes Eddie to a room. They go to Jack's house, where Jack asks Roller Girl to be intimate with Eddie as an audition. Eddie returns home to find his mother waiting and scolding him. Upset, he goes to Jack's house, where he meets Reed Rothschild. They become friends. Colonel James, an erotica financier, arrives with a teenage girl, and Morris asks Amber to talk to Jack about letting him act in the erotic movie. Little Bill sees his wife with another man on Jack's driveway. Jack's cinematographer attempts to discuss the shooting of Jack's next film, but Little Bill gets angry and leaves. Back at the pool party, the Colonel notices that the teenager he was with has taken too many drugs. Scotty J, a boom operator, sees Eddie and immediately falls in love with him. They have a conversation, and Eddie is later introduced to the Colonel by Jack. The Colonel examines Eddie's genitals and suggests that Eddie come up with a new name. That night, Jack, Reed, and Eddie all got in the hot tub. Jack asks Eddie to choose a screen name for his career, and Eddie decides on Dirk Diggler. Jack and Reed agree that it's a great choice. On Dirk's first day of shooting, Little Bill discusses the script with Jack. They shoot the intimacy scene, which involves Eddie interviewing Amber for a film role, and they make love right there on top of a desk. The crew celebrates the end of filming with a party. Reed and Eddie use the money they earn from their adult film sales to buy new clothes. Eddie dances with Roller Girl at the same nightclub. Eddie rises to fame as people flock to see his movies, earning praise from critics in the adult film industry. Sometime later, Eddie discusses a new erotica movie series with Jack, featuring a private detective and crime fighter. Eddie decides that his character in the new series should be called Brock Landers, while Reed will play Chest Rockwell. They become two private detectives who fight crime and have relations with women as their rewards. The new crime noir erotica series becomes a huge success, bringing in more money for Jack and his crew. Eddie wins 3 awards at the 2nd Annual Adult Film Awards: Best Newcomer, Best Male Performer, and Best Actor. The movie jumps forward to 1978. We see a clip from the latest Brock Landers movie, Brock Landers: Angels Live in My Town, based on the Johnny Wad film China Cat. Eddie takes Amber on a tour of his new house. Jack produces more of the Brock Landers series, and Eddie continues to win awards at the Adult Film Awards. On New Year's Eve in 1979, Becky meets a new guy named Jerome. Floyd Gondoli meets the Colonel at Jack's party and introduces his new erotic actors. Amber interrupts Jesse and Eddie. Todd Parker, an exotic male dancer, shows up at the party and talks to Reed. Buck shares his dream with Jesse. Amber asks Eddie to snort cocaine, and he agrees. Floyd talks to Jack privately and suggests switching to videotape. Scotty shows Eddie his new orange Datsun car, and in his infatuation, Scotty kisses Eddie. Eddie becomes upset and tells Scotty that he's not gay. Eddie leaves, and Scotty starts crying, realizing he made a mistake. Little Bill searches the party and finds his wife having a quality time with another man in a bedroom. Embarrassed, he retrieves a revolver from his car and shoots his wife and her lover in front of everyone before turning the gun on himself. The movie then jumps forward to 1981, where a documentary about Dirk Eddie is being shown. Dirk explains that he ignores the violence in his films, which he initially wanted to avoid when creating the Brock Landers character. The narrator Amber tries to vouch for Dirk's credibility. Reed also shares his plans for the future. Roller Girl praises Eddie's talents, and Eddie talks about receiving letters of appreciation for his work and the role Jack plays. It is revealed that Amber made the documentary, and Eddie watches it, thanking her. Shortly after, Jack receives a call from the Colonel, who is in prison. The Colonel is smiling as he reveals that he brought a 15-year-old girl to his house, and she died from a drug overdose. The police found something incriminating, likely child erotica, during their investigation. Jack realizes the truth about the Colonel's pedophilia and refuses to speak to him any further. Jack leaves the Colonel behind, refusing to provide him with a lawyer or do any more business with him. In December 1982, Becky Barnett and Jerome tied the knot, the same guy she met during the after-shoot party. As the wedding celebration unfolded, Eddie, who was feeling strung out, caught sight of Jack with a new erotic actor named Johnny Doe. Jack was attempting to recruit Johnny, which made Eddie angry and jealous. Unable to handle the presence of fresh talent, Eddie stormed off. Moving on to January 1983, Eddie, who now goes by the name Dirk, has fallen into a deep addiction to cocaine alongside Reed and Todd Parker. In a drug-induced haze, Dirk becomes envious when he sees Amber conversing with Johnny. He tries to get aroused, but his cocaine dependency hinders his ability. Even when he manages to achieve an erection, he storms onto the set, demanding that Jack shoot him immediately. Jack advises Dirk to wait for about 20 minutes while they prepare for the scene. This infuriates the strung-out Dirk, leading him to hurl obscenities and assert his status as the star. He even tries to attack Johnny, but when Jack intervenes, Dirk turns his aggression towards him as well. A heated argument ensues, and Dirk storms off the set, proclaiming that he doesn't need them. Fast forward to March 1983, and Eddie, now aspiring to be a singer, is recording a song with Reed at Sound City Recording Studios. Unfortunately, Eddie lacks talent for singing. At the same time, Johnny Doe's career is on the rise. Meanwhile, Roller Girl and Amber indulge in cocaine at Jack's house. Roller Girl decides to pursue her GED and complete high school. Roller Girl affectionately refers to Amber as Mom, expressing her longing for her two sons, one of whom is Dirk. Todd supplies cocaine to himself, Reed, and Eddie. Eddie and Reed head to Sound City to retrieve their tapes for the record company. However, they are denied access until they pay the recording fee. Eddie and Reed argue with the studio owner, explaining that they can't afford to pay until they take the demo tapes to the record company and receive payment. The owner remains adamant and refuses to release the tapes without payment. In another part of town, Buck and Jesse, who are now married, attempt to secure a bank loan. Buck wants to establish his own business selling stereo equipment. Unfortunately, they were denied the loan due to their association with erotica film. Both Buck and Jesse were former erotic actors, and the bank fears tarnishing its reputation. September 1983 arrives, and Amber finds herself in a custody battle with her ex-husband John Doe. The court deems her unfit to be a mother due to her ongoing involvement in the erotica film industry, her previous criminal record, and her addiction to cocaine. Defeated, Amber is seen crying in front of the courthouse. Finally, on December 11th, 1983, Jack tries to revive his career by launching a new erotica show called On the Lookout. It's an early TV reality series that involves Roller Girl accompanying him in a limousine as they search for random men to engage in sexual encounters with her, all captured on tape. Jack picks up a college student on the street who turns out to be Roller Girl's former high school classmate. This individual had made an obscene gesture in class, which led to Roller Girl quitting school. He shamelessly insults Roller Girl, prompting Jack to demand that he leave. The guy criticizes Jack's films, claiming they are no longer good, and asserts that Roller Girl has wasted her life. This angers Jack, leading him to physically assault the guy. Roller Girl, filled with rage, mercilessly stomps on the guy with her roller skates before returning to the limo and driving away. Later that same night, Dirk, formerly known as Eddie, encounters a stranger named Joe who propositions him to masturbate in exchange for $10. Eddie, under the influence of cocaine, agrees to Joe's offer, and they find themselves in a parking lot. However, Eddie's drug-induced state prevents him from getting aroused. Suddenly, a car carrying several gang members arrives. These individuals are Joe's friends, and they launch a vicious homophobic attack on Eddie. Joe joins in, admitting that he deliberately lured Eddie into the situation because of his sexual orientation. After the assault, the gang quickly departs, leaving Eddie battered and bloodied on the ground. In a separate incident, Jack's limousine passes by Buck and Jesse, who are now pregnant, and stops at an all-night donut shop. As Buck goes inside to buy some donuts, a thief storms in and robs the shop at gunpoint. During the chaos, another customer, dressed as a cowboy, draws a large pistol and shoots the robber. In the process, the customer is also shot. The armed customer retaliates and shoots the clerk in the head. Buck, frozen in shock, witnesses the events unfold. He notices that the robber drops a bag of money on the floor. Realizing that there are no witnesses or security cameras, Buck seizes the opportunity and flees with the money. Fast forward a few months to 1984, and Eddie and his friends are in desperate need of money. Todd hatches a plan to steal cash from a wealthy drug dealer named Rahad Jackson. They decide to deceive him by selling a half-kilogram of baking soda disguised as cocaine for $5,000 down. Todd demonstrates that he has a gun as a precautionary measure. That evening, Dirk, Rick, and Todd arrive at Rahad's house. The drug-addled and debauched Rahad welcomes them and proceeds to purchase the fake cocaine while his bodyguard measures it. Rahad listens to the song Sister Christian by Night Ranger and shares his opinions on track lists. Reed and Dirk decide they don't want to stick around any longer, fearing they will be caught. They ask Todd to leave with them. Suddenly, Todd demands that Rahad give them access to the safe in his bedroom. In response, Rahad shoots Todd in the shoulder. Rahad's bodyguard retaliates, firing shots at Todd, Reed, and Dirk, who take cover behind a bar. Todd manages to shoot and kill the bodyguard. Rahad retreats to his bedroom. When Todd kicks the door open, Rahad kills him with a shotgun blast and pursues Reed and Dirk, attempting to shoot them as well. Dirk manages to escape in his Corvette, but runs out of gas in an unfamiliar neighborhood. The following morning, a shaken Eddie shows up at Jack's house after the terrifying ordeal. He apologizes to Jack for their previous falling out, and Jack forgives him. Eddie, still shaken, seeks solace by resting his head on Amber's lap. A few more months pass, and we see that Buck has opened a new stereo store using the money stolen from the failed robbery at the donut shop. He has found his own unique style, resembling an 80s rapper, with Amber filming his TV ads. Roller Girl is shown taking the GD exam, while the Colonel remains in prison, enduring abuse from a larger cellmate. Morris opens a new club with his brothers, but discovers a spelling mistake on the sign. Reed pursues his career as a magician, performing an adults-only act with a topless female assistant. Jessie gives birth to a baby boy, with Buck coaching her and Scotty filming the event. In the final scene, several more months have passed, and we return to Jack's house. The group now resembles a family, as Jack has resumed his career in the adult film industry. We follow Jack as he moves through the house, instructing Roller Girl to tidy her room, while Reed plays with Buck and Jessie's baby in the backyard swimming pool. Jessie works on a new painting. Jack complains to Maurice about the unpleasant odors from his cooking, and he argues with Buck about wanting a more relaxed hi-fi system. Finally, Jack enters Amber's room and asks if she's ready for the shoot. In a bathroom, Dirk dresses in a Miami Vice style and practices his lines in front of a mirror. He performs a brief Bruce Lee movie and confidently walks out of the room, ready to film his latest feature. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.